I reflect on the 30th and I say, let me issue this directive and then we will start engaging after. And in the meantime, there would then be space for all of us to engage. If it comes to a point where we have to review the decision through the preliminary report or something else, that I would be prepared to do.
If you were open to a review, what was the big rush?
Pardon?
If you were open to a possible review which could have resulted in the reversal of the decision, what was the big rush? You say 29, 30, 31, you decide. What was the big rush? What was the big rush, Minister?
The rush,
yes,
if I could use your words, Commissioner, was to give an indication that what was supposed to have happened before and the wrongs that were going on in terms of budgeting and so on, let us discuss those at the beginning of the year, but the decision is being taken that we disband, and so that we now focus on the decision, whether we agree, all of us, on this, or we don't agree, it would be fine. I was flexible and I was open to that decision, but don't postpone taking a decision at the time that you think you need to take a decision. And I didn't see anything wrong in taking the decision, but open and flexible to whatever that could come after the engagements. There are decisions there are instances where decisions have been taken and you say this decision needs to be taken in the interest of the public, and then we will consult. There are such instances that have happened in government.
Minister, I still don't understand that explains the big rush, especially if you say that you were open to being convinced that the decision ought not to have been taken. Why start with a decision and await a possible reversal if you are convinced? It just gives me the sense that you were in a terrible rush. So my question stands, why the big rush? Why this terrible rush? I don't understand.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say it was a big rush. It merely was an exercise of the power to issue a directive which I could use and then have a discussion. I didn't see anything wrong with a decision and then we discuss.
Minister, ministers don't issue directives for directives' sake. Why could you not rather say to the National Commissioner, National Commissioner, I am minded to disband the PKTT. Please tell me why I should not do so, and only disband the PKTT if you were not satisfied with the reasons that he gave you. Why did you not do it that way? I just don't understand this inverted decision, as it were. Decision, but I may be convinced to reverse it. That doesn't make sense to me. Why did you not say to General Masemula, General, I'm minded to disband the PKTT. Give me reasons why I should not do so.
Well, I didn't think that particular way, commissioners. I thought that I would give the directive and we would sit down and have a discussion as indicated in my letter. And I didn't think that was constituting any offense or that it was in breach of any law, as it were, or in breach of the Constitution.
Minister, did you not realize that the disbandment of the PKTT would have serious implications, both in terms of the work that it performed, in terms of all the dockets that it handled, at all of the various stages at which they were. Did you not realize that?
Well, I didn't write anything about dockets.
This was not a decision like, let us buy a generator for the department, you know. It was not that, yes, that too has financial implications, but I think the implications of disbanding the PKTT would be far-reaching. Do you accept that that is so?
I didn't indicate anything about dockets because I understood that when I issued the directive, it doesn't have immediate implications on what was happening in relation to dockets, and it wouldn't have, because that would be a subject of discussion in the preliminary report and subsequent meetings that would take place. This was a mere decision to say, let's start the process of engagement, in other words. Insofar as you were concerned, the effect of your decision would be down the line, as it were. That the effect of my decision would be assessed properly, engaged on after the decision in the preliminary
if
report.
it were to take effect, and I'm saying if it were to take effect because you say there could have been the possibility of a reversal. So if it were to take effect, it would take effect down the line. Do you accept that?
If there would be...
If your decision were to take effect, it would take effect down the line. Do you accept that?
Yes, I accept that.
Yes. This takes me back to my question as to, it's not as if once you said disbanded immediately, your decision would take effect immediately. So if that were the case, I go back to my question, why did you rush and say disbanded immediately? Why did you not invite input on whether there should be a disbandment at all?
Commissioners, the letter itself, as I've indicated, clearly got written with a fair space for engagement. As I said before, it was not to say stop everything as of now, minding that it was 31st of December, and it says, let's engage through the preliminary report.
Exactly my point.
Yes.
Exactly my point. Why not engage before? Why rush to the decision to disband immediately? Exactly my point, Minister. But I will move on. General Sintumule told us that there are more than 10 task teams nationally. Do you accept that this is indeed so, Minister?
Agreed.
Thank you. Is there any other task team that you have disbanded?
There is a unit, not a task team, that we disbanded, the police inspectorate.
I'm talking about a task team, Minister. Is there any other task team that you have disbanded?
There is no other task team that we disbanded because the only one that we could talk about was MPKTT, because the other ones were established by National Commissioner and they fell within his purview.
I'm not sure I understand that answer. You say that this idea that you cannot play a role on operational matters is incorrect. You say so in your statement.
Yes.
And some of the operational matters would be matters that concern the purview of function, obviously, of the commissioner, and indeed anything that relates to whatever the national commissioner may have done. Would that not be correct? To the extent that you say that constitutionally, because you say that you can act even operationally, you say that comes from the Constitution. So constitutionally, you say you may engage in operational matters, correct? That's in your statement.
That is not to say practically go and constitute, decide who must get into the team, who must go and be based where. That is away from
No,
that.
no, Minister, no, please. I'm just saying, you say in your statement that the Constitution empowers you to play a role even in operational matters. Does your statement not say so?
It says so, but in italics.
Sorry?
It says so in italics, and I want to emphasize that it meant that you...
So you may oh, all right, let me listen, yes. Let me listen, Minister, yes.
Yes. It was to say that while you have your constitutional duties and as identified by the Constitution, and the National Commissioner has his duties, but you don't operate with the Chinese wall between yourselves. It is the two sides of the same coin, as I indicated. Therefore, when exercising your duties, you are aware of how they will impact practically or, yes, practically.
So you are saying then,
Operational,
Minister,
yes.
oh, sorry.
Yes, operational.
Operation.
Yeah.
So you are saying, I'm taking you back to your point about not having disbanded any other task team. So effectively you are saying that even if a task team may be operating in the most criminal and horrendous manner, you would never ever disband it purely because it was set up by the National Commissioner.
No, I'm not saying that. There would be an engagement, there would be a discussion to say what is happening here, and let us discuss what we are getting in terms of what this task team is doing or what is happening around this task team, either because it gives us bad image or for whatever reason. Then we would engage, because that would be a task team established in terms of 11(2)(d).
And if the National Commissioner dug in his heels, you would throw your hands up in the air and say, I'm not disbanding this task team because it was established by the National Commissioner.
Not at all. We would engage further.
No. Let's take you to the very end point where even you are satisfied that further engagement is not going to take you anywhere. So the National Commissioner is digging in his heels. You would throw your hands up in the air.
Not at all. It would mean that we are now incompatible. And because the National Commissioner is appointed by the President, I would go to the President to say we are becoming incompatible with the National Commissioner based on 1, 2, 3. And then he takes a decision.
I will leave it at that because I was tempted to say, and then a new National Commissioner is appointed, and that National Commissioner is happy with the existence of that task team, but I will leave it there. Because I just want to test this idea that you can only disband task teams that have been created by whom, by the way?
Yes, you can only...
Task teams created by whom?
Yes, you can only disband the task team as minister.
Created by whom?
Created by first.
Because you, the minister, cannot create any task teams.
No, I'm saying this one, as I say, was not created by the National Commissioner. It was created through the intervention of the President, then the task team, the interministerial, and then deciding that there should be a mechanism.
But that's what informed the decision. But
Yes.
the actual creation would have been in terms of statute, and where would that be? It would be in subs, and it must have been by the National Commissioner ultimately. It may have been informed by what the President said, that filtering down to the IMC, then that filtering down to the National Commissioner. So this must have been created by the National Commissioner as well. Because statutorily, there is no way that something called an interministerial committee could, as a matter of law, set up a task team. That is not possible.
They took a decision, commissioners, that there should be a mechanism in the form of a
But
task
the
team.
actual creation in
Operation,
law, the
yes.
actual creation in law would have been by the National Commissioner.
Operationally. He would be operationalized.
But in law, Minister, it would have been created by the National Commissioner, in law. Yes, it would have, the creation would have been informed by the IMC decision, but in law, the actual creation would have been by the National Commissioner.
I see
You see, what I'm testing here is this idea that in law, there are some task teams that are created by I don't know whom, and others that are created by the National Commissioner, and that those that are created by whomsoever, you are entitled to disband. But those that are created by the National Commissioner, you cannot disband. I don't understand that as a matter of law. Anyway, let me move on, Minister.
But I want to put just one point, that this one, NPKTT, the decision was through a directive of the executive side of government, and then it was operationalized. These other ones, National Commissioner can take a decision to establish and to disestablish. It has nothing to do with the directive of the executive.
I'll move on, Minister. You say the PKTT expenditure could not be justified. Did you compare it with the expenditure of other task teams?
No, we were dealing with the overall allocation of the budget, and I only complained about the management, the way we were managing the budget and allocating it. I did talk about less expenditure on detectives, less expenditure on other enablers. So it was not necessarily to be confined to a particular task team. It was spread in the whole organization to say we are not allocating the resources correctly here and here.
Minister, you have said the expenditure of the PKTT was not justified. I'm asking you a simple question. Did you compare that expenditure with the expenditure of other task teams? It's a simple question. Did you or did you not?
No, I didn't compare it
Thank
with
you.
other task teams, but I do want to say the reason to remove the police inspectorate was exactly the same as that of the task team, the National Political Killings Task Team.
So, Minister, for all you know, the expenditure of other task teams could well have been significantly higher than that of the PKTT.
Come again?
For all you know, the expenditure of the other task teams could well have been significantly higher than that of the PKTT.
Or could be less.
But could be significantly higher also.
And could be significantly
No.
less.
Do you accept the possibility I'm positing to you,
Okay.
Minister? Do you?
Yes.
Thank you. Did you ever assess the continued utility of any other task team, that is of the more than 10 task teams, besides the PKTT? Did you ever assess the utility of the others, continued utility of the others?
Not exactly, but I'm saying it was in the form of assessing the organizational structures, all of them,